Welcome to this Masterclass Explainer. Today, we're going to completely fix one of the most fundamentally misunderstood areas in Cambridge AS and A-level accounting, the core concepts. We're going to look at this exactly through the examiner's lens. We are literally pulling back the curtain on the principal examiner reports to figure out why so many incredibly smart students are bleeding marks on foundational ideas like consistency, prudence, realization, duality, materiality, and objectivity. Look, if you've ever walked out of an exam hall feeling like you absolutely nailed the material, but then your final score just didn't reflect that confidence at all, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to change that today.
Okay, quick look at our playbook for today. We're running through the core principles, the 3 key cognitive domains, the highly strategic method mark strategy, mastering critical evaluation, and finally, we'll cover the top examiner pitfalls. Let's get right into it.
Section 1, Core Principles.
Now, I want you to really let this sink in because it reveals the entire Cambridge philosophy. Analytical depth over superficial breadth. What does that actually mean for you when you're sitting there with the clock ticking? It means the examiners absolutely do not want a shallow shotgun approach where you just summarize 100 different accounting facts, hoping something sticks. If your foundation is weak, the entire structure of your essay or your problem-solving response is going to crumble under the pressure of those high-tariff 9 to 15 mark questions. Your success completely relies on logical, structured reasoning. You need a connected, conceptual understanding that you can take and drop into a completely unfamiliar business context. They want you to take just a few core principles and drill down incredibly deep into how they actually affect real-world financial decision-making.
So the absolute crucial first step is knowing your tools. We're talking about the big 6: consistency, prudence, realization, duality, materiality, and objectivity. These aren't just vocabulary words. They are the fundamental rules guiding all financial practice. But here is a massive flashing warning light straight from the principal examiner reports. Year after year, candidates consistently confuse this key terminology. They mix up prudence or materiality, or they completely misapply objectivity. To avoid this trap right out of the gate, you absolutely must firmly grasp and explicitly define these specific terms in your extended responses. Listen closely. Do not just imply what prudence means. Define it clearly, right at the start of your paragraph, before you even attempt to explain how it applies to the scenario. If you don't define the rule, the examiner can't award you the marks for applying it. Moving on to Section 2, the 3 key cognitive domains.
If you want to know what separates an average C-grade answer from a truly elite A-star response, this is it right here. Top-performing students don't just memorize facts. They demonstrate competence across all 3 of these cognitive domains, all at the same time. Think of it like leveling up in a game. Level 1 is knowledge and understanding. Can you simply state and define the accounting concept? That's your baseline. Level 2 is analysis. Can you take that concept and actually apply it to a specific data set or the unique business scenario they gave you? And then level 3, the absolute holy grail of Cambridge exams, evaluation. Can you weigh the impact of applying this concept versus an alternative approach? Can you step back and judge the outcome? If you are only operating in domain number 1, just reciting definitions, you are leaving the vast majority of your marks sitting on the table. We have to push into analysis and evaluation.
All right, Section 3. The method mark strategy.
So how do we actually systematically hit those higher domains under time pressure? We do it by deploying a strict 6-step procedural framework. In Cambridge accounting, getting the final numerical answer right is honestly only a fraction of the battle. The process, the method, is where the real heavy-hitting points are won. Let's walk through this playbook step by step. First, you deconstruct the question. You zero in on the command words. Is it asking you to explain or to evaluate? Those require entirely different structures. Second, extract only the relevant data from the stimulus material. There will be noise, ignore it. Third, select your analytical framework. You have to decide immediately, is this a materiality issue or a duality issue? Fourth, execute your calculations or arguments with incredibly clear notation. Fifth, verify your results. Does this actually make logical sense? And finally, step 6, present it all with the correct terminology. If you followed this standardized sequence every single time, you are practically guaranteeing yourself a treasure trove of method marks, even if your final calculation goes slightly off track. Now, focusing on that final step, presentation. Examiners are actively hunting for professional skills. This means your presentation has to follow strict, non-negotiable conventions if you want to maximize those method marks. We're talking about proper, underlined headings. We're talking about using exact formal accounting terminology rather than casual everyday language, adhering to the appropriate formats for ledgers and statements, and ensuring your annotations are crystal clear. If an examiner literally can't follow your working or read your messy formatting, they cannot and will not award you points for your underlying logic. Hey, real quick before we jump into the absolute hardest part of the exam, critical evaluation, I want to pause our session for a second. If you're finding the strategic breakdown helpful and you want to master these high-level techniques, make sure you subscribe to the channel Ace the Exams IGCSE O and A levels at acetheexam_IGCSE. Enable all notifications, hit that bell so you never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategy. All right, let's get back to unlocking those top-tier marks.
Section 4. Mastering Critical Evaluation. Okay, this right here is the climax of our methodology. Comparing these two distinct approaches shows exactly what separates the pack. You have to prove to the examiner that you aren't just a human calculator, but a strategic financial thinker. Let's break it down. Descriptive answers just regurgitate what is already sitting there in the text. They offer that superficial breath we warned about earlier. It's basically saying, here is what happened. But evaluative answers? Oh, they dig so much deeper. To unlock the highest marking bands, you must evaluate the quality of the evidence itself. You do this by actively questioning the underlying assumptions of the business. You need to identify the limitations of the financial data provided. You have to consider alternative interpretations. What if they used a different depreciation method? And ultimately, you have to justify your final decisions with hard, calculated evidence. It is never enough to just say what a business did. You have to critically evaluate the impact of what they did against those fundamental accounting concepts. That is how you win.
Section 5. Top Examiner Pitfalls. Straight from the Cambridge Principal Examiner reports, there are 3 major, recurring mistakes that consistently cost candidates entire grade boundaries year after year. Let's make sure you don't fall into these traps. Here they are. Pitfall number 1, using the wrong approach for the wrong context. Look, you might perfectly understand the concept of prudence. You could write a brilliant paragraph on it, but if the examiner's scenario is inherently testing materiality, you score 0. Nada. You have to match the tool to the problem. Pitfall number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. We just talked about this. Don't throw away easy, guaranteed professional marks because you are rushing and forgot a basic heading. And pitfall number 3, this is the biggest one, providing answers that are not specific to the given context. Listen, generic, copy-pasted textbook answers will absolutely fail at the A-level standard. You have to tether the concept directly to the specific business scenario provided in the prompt. Keep this 3-point checklist in your mind at all times. And remember this highly effective memory hack we use? Create an acronym for the core concepts: consistency, prudence, realization, duality, materiality, objectivity. Think CPR-DMO. Say it to yourself, CPR-DMO. Write it at the top of your scratch paper so you never ever blank on your analytical framework during the high stress of the actual exam. As we wrap up this masterclass explainer, I'm leaving you with a direct challenge. It's time to fundamentally shift how you approach your past paper practice. Ask yourself, are you just trying to blindly memorize definitions, or are you actually building a structured, evaluative argument every single time you tackle a question? Remember the 3 core pillars we built today: the 3-step question scan to nail your command words, the paragraph balance formula to ensure you hit all cognitive domains, and that last 5 minutes review checklist to catch those formatting pitfalls. Use the method mark strategy, double-check those examiner traps, and elevate your answers from descriptive to evaluative. Crushing these Cambridge exams requires consistent, high-level strategy. So if you want to keep leveling up, hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at acetheexam_IGCSE, turn on the notification bell right now for future exam hacks, and drop a comment below with your target grade so we can hold you accountable. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep analyzing.